Just
Oh, yeah.
do it all on your
Just a
own.
picture of the set. Okay. Oh, my camera's upside down.
Uh-oh.
Picture of the set. Okay, where's the filmmaker?
Over there.
Over here.
Why should?
You're getting it both ways, huh?
That's my girl, vertical and horizontal. She always
Yeah.
gets a vertical. Why? Because the frames are made this way. And then she'll get down, it won't work, I need a vertical.
I discovered what it is. While it's flashing red, you can't zoom
Right.
or
And
shoot.
it's still charging. And I
Yeah,
gotta,
I didn't realize that. Okay, have fun.
Yeah,
all right.
sure.
totally right.
Yeah.
William, tell me, what day were you born?
What day?
Yeah, I mean, not daily, but when were you born? What was your birthday?
March 8, 1922.
Wow. What are some of your earliest memories of a child?
Some of my earliest memories. Let's see. Well, it was going down to our cottage down in Bayview, which my dad bought 2 years previous to my birth. And we were fixing it up and having a great time doing that too. I watched mostly because I was fairly young, you know. But it was enjoyable, and we cleaned it up and enjoyed it very, very much.
Do you remember your elementary school?
Betsy B. Winslow, yeah, in New Bedford, sure. That's a school that I went to for 8 years, kindergarten through the 8th grade.
Did you go to high school?
I went to New Bedford High School for 4 years, 14 through 18 roughly, and took the classical course while I was there, and enjoyed it. I had 3 years of Latin, which I have forgotten since then, of course, but it was interesting at the time anyway.
I forgot about Latin. Nobody teaches it. You could be a pharmacist, though, right?
Yeah,
it was in Latin.
that's true.
So New Bedford, what was New Bedford like? It was probably gorgeous.
Oh, population, well, I don't know, it was a mixed group. It's a lot of French and Portuguese and English and Irish. It's a huge conglomeration of all different types. And we enjoyed it very, very much. My sister Barbara preceded me by, a year and a half, 2 years, I guess, in the same high school. And we enjoyed it very, very much, yeah.
Did you have any of the same teachers as your older brothers and sisters?
Yes, they stayed there. We had the same ones that they had, and of course they preceded me by 7, 6, 8 years or thereabouts. But we had the same teachers, French and English and Latin and whatnot, but they were identical, yeah. And it was fun while it lasted.
And then where'd you go after? You grew up on 212 Hawthorne, is that where you lived?
212 Hawthorne Street, yeah. My dad bought a previous house at 224 Hawthorne, and then about 2 or 3 years later, we moved down to 212 Hawthorne, which is where I was born, yeah. It's right next door in an estate, the so-called the Reed estate. Our place wasn't very big, but it's just an old-fashioned 2.5, 3-story frame structure, you know. And we enjoyed it very, very much. We had a good time there while we were there anyway.
Were you considered poor, middle class, rich? Because now we're talking you're 10 years old and it's 1932.
It was middle class, probably, yeah. And there weren't any real wealthy people in my school, in New Bedford High School at that time, but it was enjoyable, and everybody got along well with everybody else. No enemies or anything like that. It was just typical middle class school, that's all.
And where'd you go after high school?
Well, I went to Brown University after high school. That was, I ended, I think it was in January of 1940, because my class was 44. That was the name of the class.
Okay.
And I didn't leave there until graduated in May of 1944, I guess it was, yeah.
Did you go to Brown because your father or other people in your family went there, or?
No, they didn't. My dad, I don't know if he even went to college, my brother Henry went to New Bedford Textile School, and my sister Amy went to Bridgewater State Teachers College. She became a teacher. And my sister Barbara, who was just a year and a half older than I was, went to a school up in Boston. It wasn't, I think it was Berkeley. That name sticks in my mind. It was like a finishing school more than anything. It was only a 2-year course, I think, as I recall. Wasn't very well known, but she enjoyed it very much. I enjoyed Brown very much too, especially because they had a boathouse down on the Seekonk River and had a whole fleet of dinghies down there, and I used to spend a lot of time down there. And we had races, regattas, and with other colleges, of course. And MIT had a big fleet of people who went to various colleges to race against each other, you know.
I've seen photos of you in like a little beetle cat or whatever they're called. Those
We used to have a beetle cat called, it's a 12-foot cat called the periwinkle.
Right.
And yeah, we had that when we were in high school, and we raced it down in Paignerim, which is a small town outside New Bedford, just southwest of the city of New Bedford. And we had a lot of enjoyable hours and spent on the water, the Seekonk River, and we got in a car. Whoever had a car, we used to take us around to different colleges and race against their teams also, you know. So it was quite a nice experience. Yeah.
So you were raised on the water. You've been sailing since you're 7, or?
Oh yeah, thereabouts, I guess. I was 7 or 8, as long as I can remember. I was raised on the water, as you say, and it was fun. My brother Henry had a beetle cat originally. This was 7 or 8 years before I got involved in the sport, you know, because he was about that much older than I was. But we all enjoyed the water very, very much, and we had a place, summer cottage was right on the Apponeganset River, which is outside Paignerim Harbor. And we enjoyed it very, very much. And we used to travel around to different colleges and race with the teams everywhere, you know. So it was a very broadening experience, yeah.
Were you in World War II? Did you go as a meteorologist?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
so when did you go into the armed services?
When?
Was the war still on, or?
Yeah, it was. I enlisted in the service, I believe. U.S. Air Force. I was a weatherman, actually, meteorology student, and went to weather school down in, oh gosh, some small town down in Mississippi or Alabama down there. And went to weather school there, and after I got out of that, I went overseas to North Africa and centered in Algiers for quite a few months over there, helping run the weather station over there, you know. And it was quite a nice experience, very broadening. I learned how to speak French over there to a certain degree, because there were a lot of other French people. It's a French colony at that time. And so we enjoyed it very, very much, and got to know some people over there, French people. We learned to talk with them, and went to their house every now and then for cocktails at that time. I guess I was old enough then, you know. So we had a lot of fun just growing up with them, so yeah.
How did you get from the States to Algeria, North Africa? Was it in a ship?
By boat, yeah. Yeah, we did.
So for you, it was no big deal. You'd already been on water.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of other guys getting sick on the way home.
Yeah, well, I didn't get sick at all, but some people did, I guess, yeah. But yeah, it was a regular transport ship, I guess, owned by the U.S. Navy and all. And it was fun getting over there and settling down in Algiers and other places. I was over in Cairo for a while, over in Egypt, but that was on the way home. Now, I didn't really work over there. It was just a stopping off spot, a couple of weeks there, that's all.
Because the Suez Canal wasn't built yet.
What was
The
it?
Suez Canal. I think you had to go around Africa. I
Oh,
don't know if the canal was built.
I think it was.
Well, maybe it was built
I
in
think it was.
'48.
I think it
No, you're right. It was. So, was there a feeling back then, like we'd been attacked by the Japanese, and I'm going to go fight for my country? Did every man who was healthy enough want to go? What was the feeling?
No, the feeling was, if I have to go, I will go, but people weren't enthusiastic about wanting to go out and race and grab a rifle and shoot Japanese. It wasn't that serious a feeling at all, People just took things as they came, and if you had to go, the Army or Air Force told you you had to go, you accepted it, that's all. But it wasn't a real deep patriotic feeling at that time anyway. I don't know about right now, but then it was just a duty that everybody was involved in and had to take part in. And they accepted it, It was just one of those things that you have to do it and fight for your country. And a mile sort of away, we didn't have rifles. We just helped to run a meteorology station.
Which helped the airplanes know when to fly.
Yeah,
So no, it's an important part.
Yeah.
And then you come back to the States, and then what'd you do? Do you remember after?
Then I went into the insurance business. My dad was a senior agent in New Bedford, and my brother Henry worked for him. So there wasn't any room for me in that agency at that time, so I got a job in, I think it was Algiers, in the weather station there. They're observing the weather and taking recordings and doing all kinds of things connected with a regular weather station, and we had a teletype machine, series of them actually. So we had to broadcast the weather, code it, and then make a tape of it and broadcast it to other weather stations throughout North Africa and Italy as well too. So we, had the data encrypted and sent to many different stations, weather stations, And the weather stations were in airports, and of course they helped to guide other pilots and whatnot as to what weather systems they should avoid and what ones they can go to free and clear, and prevent any pilots from running into a poor weather situations, So it was interesting work, and did it for several years there. Let's see, I went in the Army in 43, I think it was, the Air Force, and I was in there for about 3 years, and came out in 47.
Good feeling to come home?
Big part.
It was a good feeling to come back to?
Oh, sure. I had 1 year to go at Brown, I think, if I recall rightly. Before I got my degree in economics, actually.
That's actually a good thing.
Yeah, AB degree in economics, and after that I got affiliated with the Prowash Insurance Company, which had a
Prowash Insurance?
Prowash, yeah, Providence, Washington Insurance Company. They had their headquarters in the city of Providence, and just down College Hill from the Brown University gates. So I went down there and worked for them for several years anyway. And after that, I don't know what happened, but I got involved with other things then, I guess, too. I haven't even thought much about it. It's been so long ago.
Oh, yeah, that's why these are fun.
But,
do you remember the first time you laid eyes on Madeline?
Well, yeah, vaguely. It was after a bowling trip. She was affiliated with Rhode Island School of Design, and I was, I guess, a student. No, I had graduated from Brown, but I was affiliated with the alumni group, and we were in a bowling alley somewhere locally in New Bedford. And after we had got through bowling, Maddie said that she needed a ride home and could anybody take her home. So I volunteered, and that was the beginning of a lifelong relationship. she lived with her mother and father on the east side of Providence. And it didn't take long to get up there, certainly, just from downtown Providence up to the east side. But after that, I asked her for a date, and we hit it off pretty well. So that was the start of a lifelong relationship.
You gotta have a drink of water.
All right, thank you, sir.
No liquor yet. You don't get the liquor till after the interview.
After
After the interview, you can drink as much as you want.
you want me to tell you the truth, don't you?
Yeah, well, maybe we should give you liquor now and you can tell us the real truth. All right. So who was your girlfriend before Madeline?
Well, there was a girl who lived in New Bedford, and her name was Ellen Wilson, I think it was. She lived up on, let's see, east side of, she was on the, she lived on the east side, up near the Brown University gate, but on like College Hill. I guess it was a dormitory up there, but that didn't last too long.
I hear you. Do you remember, were you nervous when you brought Madeline home for the first time? Do you remember?
No, I had known her then for about, I don't know, 6 months probably, and I brought her home and to 212 Holland Street, I guess it was at that time, and she hit it off very well with my parents, because my mother had been a teacher before she married my father. This was many years ago, and so they got her hit it off very, very well, and they're both of the same religion, and that helped my parents to see everything the same. So she got accepted and liked very much by my parents. Yeah, everybody hit it off very, very well. Wasn't any friction at all, so I was thankful for that.
Yeah, that's always a very good feeling.
Oh, yeah.
And what was it like to be a young father? Do you remember when Jackie was born?
Oh, gosh, that's going back a few
56.
years. 55 or 6 years, I guess, yeah. I was tickled pink. I guess she was born up there in the Lying-in Hospital in Providence. And I saw her there as long as she was in the hospital, and then she came home. We had an apartment, I believe, when we first got married. And I think we were still in an apartment on Condon Street in the east side of Providence. And I got to, well, I of course knew her very well even before that, of course, but we hit it off very, very well. And the baby was really great, behaved itself, and I didn't have to get up in the middle of the night very often, which was fine by me. But yeah, it was interesting.
Okay, so now let me just skip way ahead. I came to see you in an office in Providence, near the Biltmore Hotel. Did you work in a tall building?
Yeah, the Grosvenor building, yeah, that was a tall building.
And I came to visit you before I was married to Jackie we were dating, and I was asking you about her, and he goes, she's a procrastinator, just make sure that's what he told me. He says, just make sure she doesn't procrastinate. That's all I remember you said to me. He said, yeah, she's a bit of a procrastinator. I remember I came to your office and I was like, whatever. So, my memories of you and Barb and Phyllis, I didn't know Henry.
Yeah, no, he probably did.
What was Pop Perry like?
Well, he was very, very fair, and he was a good father and husband to my mother, and he was a local man. He was born and brought up in New Bedford, as a matter of fact, and that was years ago. 'Cause he must have been, 50-something when we got married, I guess. But he was a native of the place. He had several relatives, a couple of brothers and sisters who lived in there also. And we got along very, very well. And Maddie was accepted wholeheartedly by all of my uncles and my parents, of course, too. And it made life easy for her, certainly. And then they all loved her because she had a nice outgoing personality, and everybody loved her very, very much, yeah.
Do you remember your grandparents?
Only very vaguely. They were alive when I got married, I believe, but I don't know for how long. It wasn't too long, maybe 8 or 9, 10 years after I got married that they passed on, you know. But I don't remember too much about them, actually. It's so long ago. My grandfather, he lived on County Street in New Bedford, opposite St. James Church, I think, on County Street. But I forget what he did. I think he was in the insurance business also, but I won't swear to it, but I think he was. You know.
3 generations of insurance.
Yeah. You know.
Do you have good insurance?
Yeah, I do. Paul and Dixon was the name of the agency where my dad worked and my brother Henry worked also, and so you know they put me after we bought a house in Cranston. I insured it with them, of course, and through the Paul and Dixon agency. I forget the name of the insurance company right now, but that was the agency anyway. They handle all the insurance and whatnot, so they covered our house and all the contents of it, and a boat as well after when we got a little sailboat, you know. So it was a nice place to get born and brought up in. No problems with the neighbors or anything like that, you know. So it was very enjoyable and calm upbringing I had there. You know.
So you've been going to Bayview since you can remember.
Yeah, my dad bought it 2 years before I was born. He bought it in 1920. And
Do you know how much he paid?
Huh?
Do you know how much he paid in those days?
I'm not sure, but the figure of 15,000 sticks in my back of my mind.
That makes sense.
And today it's worth many times that, of course, with appreciation of real estate values. Especially, people appreciate the fact that it's right on the water on Buzzards Bay, looking out across to the Elizabethan Islands. And any house that is situated like that commands quite a premium simply because of the view, you know. And so we've been very fortunate in that respect, you know. So the value of the house has gone up quite a few times from what we paid for it originally. I don't know what, I hope the kids, of course, don't sell it at all, because you could never repeat it, I don't think, anymore. They don't have the money to buy a similar property nowadays.
We know. We know. Do you ever sit in that house and think back, oh, I remember when I was 12, or I used to do that when I was a kid? Do you ever sit in Bayview and think back 40 years prior?
Not very often.
Right.
I'm thinking about what's going to happen in the future rather than what
Right.
happened in the past.
That's good. That's a good thing.
So it comes back. Certain things, parts of it do come back in your memory, you know. But I don't dwell on that because there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
But we enjoyed it. We had a whole bunch of kids who were our age living in the neighborhood, so we played Relievo and hide and go seek and all the games that kids played at that time.
Ollie Ollie in free, did you say
Yeah,
that?
Ollie Ollie and
I never knew what that meant, but Ollie Ollie in free.
Yeah,
That meant
yeah.
everyone come in?
Yeah.
Did you play Red Rover, Red Rover?
We didn't play Red Rover,
Stickball? No.
but it was
That's fun.
Relievo, we called it, which is the same thing. That was the name of the game, Relievo. I guess it's hyphenated, but that was when if the person who was running the thing, who was if they went away and somebody had been captured and whatnot, some of your other friends could come in and relieve you.
Yeah, I played something similar. I know what you're talking about. Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
They could if they got there before the guy who was running the game, that everybody who was there would be relieved, you know, and to go back out and hide again.
Wow.
It's quite an interesting game.
Who were you closest with of your brothers and sisters? Anyone?
Oh, but my sister Barbara, she was closest in age. She was only about a year and a half older than I was. And I've outlasted all of them now. I had a brother and two sisters, and I'm the only one alive in the group right now. Everybody else, including my parents, have been dead for quite a few years, yeah. But it was a nice upbringing, and I enjoyed it. I was very fortunate in that respect, yeah. Well, I appreciate it now when you look back many years, which I don't do often, but occasionally I do, and I appreciate the kind upbringing that my parents gave me. You know, I was very fortunate in that respect. They got along well with each other and along well with the kids too. So didn't have any criminal tendencies or anything.
Are we sure?
As far as I know, they didn't.
Nobody got caught.
No, nobody got caught. Whatever. But it was interesting. Yeah. Betsy B. Winslow Grammar School stands out in my mind. That was kindergarten plus 8th grades, and then we went into high school for 4 additional years before college. And you have all the information about college and everything there. So it was a very fortunate upbringing. I was very, very lucky to outlast everybody too.
What do you attribute that to?
My brother Henry was a constant smoker, cigarettes, and my sister Barbara also. And a lot of them had canned food that they ate, you know. And my good wife gave us fresh vegetables all the time, and I think that spoke for a lot of our longevity. And she outlasted her sister. Well, she has a brother who's out in the West Coast, George, but she outlasted her sister and her parents, of course. And I've outlasted everybody in my family, including my parents and 2 sisters and a brother. So I think it's a good food, and the fact that I don't smoke anymore. I used to smoke a pack of cigarettes a day.
You did?
Oh yeah, years ago.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Ah,
Well,
what was
maybe
your
not.
brand?
I might be exaggerating that when I say 20 cigarettes a day.
They were smaller packs than this. What brand?
Delete that
They
statement.
always say that. What brand did you smoke?
Oh gosh, Philip Morris, I think it was.
Philip Morris, because they had those good commercials with the
Yeah,
the hat.
yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I like that, but I think I only smoked them for I don't know, senior in high school, 4 years of college, and then 3 or 4 years after college, and then I quit after a while.
Yeah.
I don't know who talked me out of into quitting, but I did.
Oh,
So
good for you.
it paid off, you know. And I think it adds years to your life if you don't smoke.
Oh,
you
I
know.
agree. What's
I was fortunate in that respect anyway, yeah. So that was it.
in Cranston? Do you have any good memories about the house? Was there any one particular
In Cranston? Oh gosh, let's see. Where was it? Hilltop Drive.
Hilltop? I know Dell's Lemonade was down the street.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was there, yeah. And we went to St. Joseph Church, which is also in Cranston, about 2 miles south of our house, probably. I forget the name of the street it was on now, but we went there all the time we were growing up. The whole family went there. And it was a nice church, Catholic church as far as that goes. We didn't have any problems there at all, and I think I went to Sunday school there too, if I recall. So it was a nice normal upbringing anyway, you know. So I can't complain at all about that, you know. everybody there was very kind and hospitable and a lot of fun to be with too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we got enough, right, Brian?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay.
Good job, Bill.
Good.
Oh, wait, one more question. I'm sorry. Your middle name is Nannery?
Yeah, that was my
Explain
mother's.
that. Explain what.
Well,
Nan-
Nanry, my mother's maiden name was Mary Nanry, and she lived in Fall River,
Mhm,
born and brought up there.
mhm.
And Nanry was her father's name,
Mhm.
Joseph Nanry he was.
Mhm.
And so she decided she'd like to have that name stay with the family, so I got it as a middle name. And I've lived with it ever since. It's kind of unusual. I don't know any other Nannerys around.
Never, never.
But that's what it was. It was her maiden name, that's all.
Did anyone ever tease you? What's
No,
your middle name?
never.
Because they didn't know.
Never. They accepted it.
Yeah.
There would have been a lot more unusual names than that, probably. But, you know, she lived in Fall River, and there were an awful lot of Irish people over there at that
Oh, that's right,
time.
Nannery.
Yeah. And that's where she was born and brought up, and that was her maiden name, yeah.
I know. When I met you, I was like, what? My sister's middle name is Nan,
Nan?
and my cousin Marcy's middle name is Nan.
Is that short for Nan?
I don't know. I don't know. I think they couldn't
It
afford
could be
Nannery.
short for Nancy, possibly.
Yes. Yeah, could have been Nan.
Nancy.
All right. And you still sell, right?
I don't do anything. I've been retired for quite a few,
I
for
remember going
20
sailing.
years I've been retired.
But I went sailing with you maybe 2 years ago.
Huh?
Sailing. We went
Oh,
sailing.
I still do that.
Yeah.
I still do that. We have a small, well, it's a much bigger boat now. It's 3 feet longer than the one I had when I was a teenager.
Mhm.
But yeah, we go sailing. Maddie doesn't particularly care for it, I don't think, but
Mhm.
she tolerates my going out in it anyway, so this is fine. And David said never to sell the boat, and so we haven't sold it. I don't get out on it as often as I used to, but we're still going to keep it in the family anyway. Yeah. So he wants to be able to use it when, I don't know, when he comes down to Bayview, he can go out in it all the time, and I go with him too. Yeah.
Hmm.
His wife doesn't care too much for it, but, you know, she tolerates his going out in it anyway. Yeah, we have fun in it, yeah.
And real quick, what's your memory of the 38 hurricane? You always hear Nana talking about it.
Oh, I remember the water coming up in the front of our house and going underneath the house in back of us, which is unusual because it went right underneath our house, took all the woodwork away, the lattice work underneath the house. You know, there's no actual cellar there, as you know.
Right.
But the water came and took the lattice work away, which is about quite a foot and a half high, 2 feet high. Washed that away, and the water rushed underneath the house. And we were fortunate that it didn't do any great damage to the house other than the lattice work. But it went up in back of our house, it surrounded the house, and I think it went over into the house in back of us, which I guess is number 6 Bayview Avenue. We're number 4. And it went underneath up to their front door, that's all, and then it reseeded after that, you know. But it got the house kind of wet, both outside and in the side, the house too, and the sunroom, it got wet. But we survived anyway. We had a good, strong foundation pillars that it rested on. There's a couple of them still remaining down there on south of our property, where our boathouse was. We used to have a small boathouse, maybe 15 by 20 feet or so, and that's where we kept our little beagle cat that we owned and raised. And that whole boathouse was swept away in the hurricane. When